I'm Matthew. I'm a travel planner specializing in theme park travel, including Disney and Universal Resorts, as well as Merlin Entertainment, which includes Legoland, Thorpe Park, Alton Towers, and others. I have my own little agency, Magic Voyager Travel, and I'm a lifelong theme park enthusiast. I grew up in New Jersey, going to Six Flags Great Adventure. I moved to Orlando in high school, where I wasted my life at Disney and Universal Studios. And I've also lived in Southern California, so I've spent a lot of time at Magic Mountain, Knott's, Disneyland, and Universal Hollywood. Today, I'm going to start my dream park in Planet Coaster 2. I know you guys all go nuts for parking lots, but being a travel planner, I'm going to start with the actual most important part of a theme park, the hotel. And then we'll do a car park. That's right, parking lot fans. Buckle up. Stay tuned to the end for some hot car park action. So I'm not really starting from scratch here. I'm going to be using the snap kit I made for the hotel. It contains a bunch of different pieces that fit together using the snap edge tool and makes building a hotel super fast. Kinda fast. This still took 2 hours. Obviously, I wish that we had hotel functionality in Planet Coaster 2. I'm sure we'll get that at some point, and I'll have to redo this whole kit. But for now, the hotel is semi-functional. The lobby buildings contain guest spawners and entry points, so the whole thing works like a nifty little entrance into the park. I've also hidden different shops and restaurants and vending machines within the building, just to simulate guests coming and going. This is my first video on this channel, and it's my first Planet Coaster video in about 8 years or so. I made a few videos on my own personal channel reviewing various coasters and comparing them to the real life counterparts, explaining how to make backstage areas using curb pieces, and other very boring topics. Because I thought that's what the people want, dry tutorials. It didn't take off, and I honestly did not enjoy doing it, which is why I haven't made a video in almost a decade. But a lot of that had to do with where I was at that stage of my life. I had just gotten out of a career in game development, both as a freelance writer for tabletop role-playing games, and I was managing a QA and customer support team. And so my mindset was very much focused on explaining things and understanding game mechanics and figuring out how to exploit weird features. When Planet Coaster 2 came out, I thought, hey, I should start up that channel again. And I was gonna do the same exact thing. But then I started watching guys like Dan Wolf and John T, and they're out here having a blast, and I was like, I want to have fun. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm not a QA lead anymore. I'm a travel advisor. My job is helping people plan awesome vacations, and so that's how I'm approaching these videos. Vacations are fun, theme parks are fun, games are fun, so I'm gonna make fun videos. If I find cool features, I'll share them as I go, like I'm doing here with the snap edges. But that's not going to be what this channel is about. There's a place for tutorial too, but I'll leave that to people like Taggy3D, who seem to actually enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I do have a bunch of how to build snap kits B-roll from this project, but I am going to keep things fun this time around, so I don't get burnout and give up. But if you do want to see that kind of stuff, let me know in the comments, and if there's demand for it, I'll put something together for you. Also, because I'm doing more fun videos, I managed to convince my wife that this was marketing, which is the only way I can justify the amount of time I am spending on this game. So I guess here's the marketing part of the video. If you're planning a vacation anytime soon, please reach out and talk to me. You can find me at magicvoyager.com. Like I said in the introduction, I specialize in theme park travel, though I also book cruises, educational trips, relaxing getaways, pretty much any kind of travel. Travel planners don't cost you anything. We receive commission from the resorts for providing guest assistance, so there's no downside to using a travel planner. We'll be able to find you the best deals, help you make your dining and entertainment reservations, even help manage your lightning lanes. So whether you're trying to chase a few rare coaster credits, want to take a trip your kids will remember, or just want to get away for a while, I've got your back. You've probably noticed by now that I work in Planco scale. I know a lot of creators scale things down to try to be more realistic, and I try, but I also accept that at a certain point you're fighting the developers. So each floor of the hotel is 4 meters high. Is that realistic? Of course not, but it's an acceptable sacrifice to keep me from losing my mind. I'm also trying to future-proof this in case we get the same sort of boxy hotel rooms that we got last time, and I want to leave enough space that I can put them inside and kind of hide them in there. Most theme parks have only 1 or 2 resort hotels, if they have hotels at all. But both Disney World and Universal Studios Orlando have so many options that they used a tiered system. At Disney, the hotels are all categorized as deluxe, moderate, or value, while at Universal they are signature, prime value, and value. The hotel I'm currently building would probably be the equivalent of a moderate or a prime value hotel. There are a number of factors that go into categorizing resorts, but the big ones seem to be quality, location and transportation options, amenities, and extra perks. This hotel's nice, but it isn't particularly fancy. This isn't the kind of place with a crystal chandelier. It's sort of themed, but the theme is very basic. It is in a prime location, and it's walking distance to the parks, which is sometimes enough to make all the difference and bump a moderate hotel up to a deluxe. But in this case, I don't think it's enough. It does have some nice amenities, like the rooftop pool decks, a rooftop bar, a handful of restaurants, but there's nothing that's particularly jaw-dropping. There's no spa. There might be a fitness center, but nothing all that special. And we don't really have the option to add any extra perks in Planco. The free express passes at Universal Deluxe Resorts are absolutely amazing and really make up the difference in cost between a deluxe and a prime value if you're looking to get express passes. And the extra park hours in the evening that you get with a stay at a Disney Deluxe Resort are really nice. It's given us a really good opportunity to spend some time at the parks with our older kid while one of us goes home with our youngest. But we can't really match those kind of perks in Planco. That would be a really cool feature when they implement hotels. But for now, I think we're solidly in that moderate or prime value tier. So let's talk about hotels while I'm building a hotel. Hotelception. As far as I know, the first park hotel was the Disneyland Hotel. Before Disneyland, most amusement parks were built in existing tourist destinations that already had resort and hotel infrastructure. Places like Blackpool, Coney Island, Atlantic City, even Copenhagen. But Disneyland was built in Anaheim, which at the time was basically the middle of nowhere. So they needed a place for guests to stay. Walt didn't have the money at the time to build a hotel, so he reached out to his buddy Art Linkletter, but he turned down the deal. He thought the amusement park was going to flop. Then Walt reached out to both Sheraton and Hilton hotels, but they basically told him they couldn't even find Anaheim on a map, and they weren't going to invest in a hotel in a place that didn't have existing tourist demand. Eventually, a guy named Jack Rather decided to roll the dice, built the Disneyland Hotel across the street from Disneyland so that guests could simply walk to the front gate. Then later, once the monorail was added to the park, the Disneyland Hotel's monorail station gave guests another way to get in to Disneyland. Fast forwarding a bit to the opening of Disney World, it opened with the Contemporary Resort, and then the Polynesian opened shortly after. These resorts were not only near the park, but like the Disneyland Hotel, they had direct transportation to and from the park via the monorail. As more hotels opened, Disney introduced its fleet of buses to connect the hotels to the parks. They also added the Grand Floridian Hotel to the monorail line. They added boats to connect some of the Epcot resorts to a back entrance of the park. Now they have the Skyliner to connect various hotels to both Epcot and Hollywood Studios. The Universal Resorts in Orlando, which are operated by Lowe's, are similarly located close to the parks, and they feature boat and bus transportation. And now both Disney and Universal have hotels that are physically connected to the parks, including the Grand Californian and Pixar Place at Disneyland, and the soon-to-open Helios Grand at Universal Orlando. These hotels have basically a little secret entrance that gets you into the park and lets you skip the hustle and bustle of the front gate. Speaking of Universal Resorts, some of you may have realized by now that this hotel looks a bit familiar, and it should. The lobby and towers are based on or stolen from Lowe's Endless Summer Resort at Universal Studios Orlando. The set also has a lot of pieces based on more generic Surfside resort hotels. Those two distinct styles allow the set to be used in a lot of different ways. You can build a big hotel with towers, like I am, or you can build a bunch of smaller 2, 3, or 4-story hotel buildings. It's really fun and flexible and easy to use. So in addition to the big hotel towers, we're going to place a few smaller guest buildings. In my imagination, at least, these are similar to the Disney Vacation Club rooms. The big towers have standard hotel rooms, but these are little suites. This also lets me place some buildings off-grid to help break things up. I'll need to manually connect the paths and fill in some blank areas with the terrain brush, but that's not a problem. That does bring up one limitation of using the snap kits though. With the snap edges, you can only snap a blueprint onto another building if it has one and only one grid. If you try to snap a blueprint with multiple grids, the game crashes. Ask me how I know that. You may have just noticed there that I added a couple of solar panels to the roof. There are also rooftop pools and a rooftop bar in this snap kit. Those all come complete with the pathing needed for them to work out of the box. It's not particularly pretty, but it does allow the guests and park employees to access those areas without you needing to go in and add the paths after. And now we're going to skip forward a bit. This video is already ridiculously long, and the next bit gets a little repetitive. It's a lot of the same stuff we've been doing, snapping together hotels and landscaping around it. And I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. You came here for parking lots, I'm giving you parking lots. In just a minute. First we have to do the bus loop. Buses and other transportation options are extremely important for this type of theme park resort. Because the truth is, they don't really want you to park a car. They want you to take a shuttle from the airport to the hotel, you check in, and then use the free transportation options to get around the resort. Because they want you to stay in their bubble. If you've got a car, you can leave the bubble whenever you want. They don't want you to leave. They want you to stay. They want you to spend money. It's kind of a conspiracy. Or, you can bring a car and you can park it in the lot. That's fine too. They will charge you for parking though. This whole set was designed using the snap edge tool, so these parking lots all pop together pretty simply. One thing I did realize kind of late into the game is that you don't really need to put snap edges along paths. The paths snap together really nicely all on their own, just by default. That was news to me, but it does open up some potential as far as making snap kits that are a little bit less constrained to the grid. So far, the parking lots come in 3 different sizes, which I have very cleverly named small, medium, and large. They can be combined together using the snap edges to create even larger parking lots. Eventually, I want to make some parking garages to go along with the lots, but that seemed like a lot of work. And at this point, I was honestly ready for a change of pace. I'll definitely circle back to that at some point though. Both the bus stops and the lighted pillars in the parking lots and the signs for the parking lots, they're done in this kind of an Art Deco style that was inspired by the bus stops at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I really like that style, and I felt like it went well with the 60s, 70s California surf vibe that we're going to be aiming for with this part of the park. This hotel is going to be our hub hotel and is going to be located alongside the main entrance to the park. The whole hub area is going to share this same sort of seaside resort aesthetic, with the other lands having a little bit more whimsy. As far as the actual theme park goes, I don't tend to get overly experimental with my concepts, at least not this early on. I'm really enjoying seeing other creators making sci-fi and western and fantasy and low budget all work with the pieces we have. But at least for some of those themes, I'm betting we're end up getting some DLC, and I'd rather wait to see what kind of animatronics and scenery pieces we get before I tackle those. I really like working with dark rides and animatronics, and even if we can fake the architecture and landscaping, we can't really fake those. So for now, let's keep things simple. In addition to the Surfside Resort theme that I'm using in kind of the central hub area, I'll be doing a tropical area, a Viking area, a mythology area, and an aquatic area. That's not to say I never get experimental. I do sometimes make a ride or two in a non-standard theme. Right now I have a really cool idea for a B&M flying coaster based on Wicked and an accompanying full flight ride themed to the Flying Monkeys. Both of those are in honor of my musical theater nerd wife, who I love very much, and I really enjoyed being dragged to Wicked, just in case she's listening. My coaster and ride building videos will be in a separate playlist that I'm going to be calling Extra Credits, which is a roller coaster pun. In those videos, I'll talk a bit about the models and manufacturers, their history, various examples, but also the basic design language and profiling and notable elements so that you can build coasters that look and feel authentic, if that's something you're interested in. Right now, I'm just laying down some signs to help me plan where things will go eventually. Things never really go to plan, so we'll almost certainly be making adjustments to this as we go, but I like to at least have some idea of where things are going in the future. The thing that kind of ties all of these existing themes together is a connection to the sea, which makes sense given this game's focus on water parks. Which brings me to the name of our park, Mystic Islands. To sell that theme, we're going to separate each of the lands with lagoons, retaining ponds, pools, and water features, so that they all feel like they're on their own little islands. To wrap things up for today, I'm laying down a little dark ride I've been working on, which is loosely based on Sploosh Mountain, which I am calling Sploosh Mountain for copyright reasons. This is a Viking themed ride, which I also made using the snap edges. In fact, it's kind of what started the whole snap edge obsession. The first ride I made was a recreation of Galactic Rewind, which I called Aquatic Rewind. It was really cool, but then I wanted to move it, and I was informed you can't move more than 5,000 pieces at a time. And it was over 10,000 pieces. I couldn't save it to the workshop, I couldn't move it, I kind of couldn't do anything with it. It was just a big lump in the middle of my map. Then I remembered snap edges from that Frontier Live video, and I started wondering if they were the secret to getting around piece limitations for blueprints. And they totally were. So I really started experimenting with them on this ride, which is going to be the landmark, or weenie, for the Viking themed area. As cool as it is to be able to create multi-part blueprints with snap edges, this was very much an experiment. There are a lot of things I'd improve if I was doing it all over again, but I'm not gonna. I'll use snap edges on future rides for sure, but Sploosh Mountain will remain its charming, imperfect self, and we'll just use what I learned to do better on future rides and attractions. Next week, we'll continue to build out the hub and spend a bit of time in the Viking area, where I will be placing another hotel. This one will be based on the amazing hotels of Park Asterix. Then I'll be working on our Viking-themed teacup ride, Skoll. We'll also be working on our first coaster for the park, a GCI Out and Back inspired by Prowler from Worlds of Fun and Mystic Timbers from Kings Island. But that is a story for another day. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. If you'd like to download my snap kits for either the Hang 10 Hotel or Sploosh Mountain or the modular parking lot, they are available in the workshop. I've posted the share codes for the base pieces for each down below, and you can find the rest of the pieces by following the links from those blueprints to my workshop. If you'd like to see a follow-up about snap kits, how to make them, how to use them, or anything else, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what you think of the hotel. I think it turned out pretty good. Like and subscribe if you're into that sort of thing. And if you're planning a vacation, please feel free to reach out to me through my website at magicvoyager.com. And I'll see you all next week.